I appreciate the fact that you're willing to speak with me. Where to begin? Honestly, I don't appreciate the fact that you and your group have raided my zoo twice now. But I am willing to drop all of the charges against all of you because clearly your animal rights organization, the biggest in the city, just doesn't understand what's going on here. No, hold on. Let me finish, and then when I am done, I will give you an opportunity to speak, and if you want to throw a bunch of four-letter words at me, that's fine, but just let me finish. As you know, about 3 years ago, there was that giant earthquake, and that crater opened up, and it revealed an entrance to an underground world filled with all sorts of mystical creatures living in peace with each other, away from human beings. Well, human beings are disgustingly predictable. Don't understand something, afraid of it, kill it, all of it. All of those private groups, well organized, individuals who organized private armies just went into that valley and pretty much slaughtered all of those creatures. Very few escaped, and the truth is, all of them are at my mystical creatures zoo. But here's what you don't understand. It's not actually a zoo. All of the ones who survived, all female, because all of the male members of their species were the ones who fought back and got slaughtered. So now they can't even reproduce because all we have left are the females. And there's such a small number of them in comparison to what there was. Now, you and your animal rights group seem to think they're being held against their will in the glass enclosures at my so-called zoo. They're not. Now, that's a secret I have kept, and they have kept for quite a while now. Because my so-called zoo is the only place that they're safe. You don't understand. The glass separating them from human beings, yes, that's just the automatic air freshener. Never mind about that. But the glass separating them from all of those people who pay to come in and view and gawk and stare, that glass isn't there to prevent them from escaping. It's there to prevent people from killing them or getting at them. It's there for their protection, and they know it. That's right. Because you see, they know it. Because all of them are intelligent. And I don't mean intelligent like a pig is a very intelligent animal. No, they are intelligent. They can speak, they can communicate. They have intelligence levels the same as human beings. Oh, why do they choose not to communicate? Because if people found out that they were more than just savage animals, they would be afraid, they wouldn't understand, and then they would kill them, like they did all the rest of their kind. Now let me continue. They came to me slowly, over time, through my connections. Yes, I'm filthy, stinking rich, and only someone with my money, resources, and connections could help them. They came to me slowly. Now it's at the point where I believe all of them are at my zoo. They begged for my help, for my protection, and I gave it to them. Running that place, those enclosures aren't enclosures, those are their homes. How do you not understand? Well, you and your group think that they're savage animals. They're not. I have had many thought-provoking conversations, especially with the Lamia. Yep. The west side of her so-called enclosure, where all the glass is, that's where she goes when the crowds show up. There's a red light throughout her caverns. When that red light goes on, she knows it's time to perform. She goes to the west side. She puts on a black bra. And she stands in front of the glass and she looks seductively at all the adult men, and she moves her tail in a sexy fashion and she arches her back, and she does that for several minutes, and then we bring in the next group of people. And that lasts for about an hour, and then she gets a break. And it is amazing how many people will pay just to watch and gawk and stare. By the way, her name is Caroline. She lost her sister and her father when the men showed up in the valley to slaughter everyone. Do you want to know how Caroline survived? The same way all of them, with two exceptions, survived. There were a lot of perverted men who came to kill all of them. And with two exceptions, all of the ones in my mystical creature zoo made deals with the men who came to kill them. They would make their adult fantasies come true. They promised to be loyal. And so, many of these men hid them in crates, and they found other ways to sneak them out of the valley. That's how most of them survived. And according to all of them, that's how they continued to survive, doing favors for perverted men. Except for two, and you might be surprised which two those are. They were the ones who fought back and succeeded, not through strength. Yeah. Well, when you're beautiful, charming, or cute, and you have a nice chest, you can convince men not to hurt you. And when those men turn their backs, well, let's just say the Swamp Mermaid isn't as innocent as she looks, and neither is the Neko. That's what all the Japanese tourists call her because that's what she looks like. The truth is, instead of being a cat girl, she's more like a saber-toothed cat girl. Oh, yes. Yes, those cute little nails and those adorable little fangs. They're a lot longer. She can make them longer. One of her claws, fully extended, could cut off a man's head if she wanted to. But she's so cute and adorable. So men let their guard down. That's what they do. Oh, those collars that they all wear, that control them. Yeah, those aren't real. Well, they're real necklaces that all of them wear. But there's no shock collar electronics inside. There's no mind control tricks or gimmicks. They're just beautiful necklaces. And the girls, that's what I call them, the girls know that they have to put them on before they go out and perform behind the glass. I just tell everyone that they're mind control collars. You see, it keeps people from being afraid if they know that a wild beast is completely controlled. They're not afraid. If they're not afraid, they're not going to try to kill them. Those collars don't do anything. They look like necklaces because they are necklaces. Just beautiful necklaces that they wear. Let's face it, girls and women, they like to wear beautiful necklaces. Just because they happen to be mystical creatures, that's besides the point. Now, I'm willing to drop all the charges. If you accompany me to my zoo, I want you to meet them. They will speak with you personally. Each one will remove her necklace and speak to you freely without me being there, and you will see what I'm talking about. I'm not some cruel, vindictive, rich bastard keeping a bunch of poor females locked up and controlling them. I'm helping them so they don't get killed. You might want to be careful around the Neko and the Swamp Mermaid, though. Those two are definitely killers. The rest, not even remotely. All right? It's your turn. Well, in fairness, when your brother-in-law broke into the centaur's living space and tried to mount her so he could apparently ride off into freedom with her, see, when it comes to centaurs, you don't jump on their back. That's considered a sexual thing with them, and your brother-in-law certainly didn't ask for consent, so she kicked him. Here's the thing. She's not a killer. Now, she could have used the full force of her rear legs and kicked him in the head, snapping his neck like a twig and killing him. Instead, she just gave him a little tap, barely a quarter of her strength in the chest, just to knock him down. So he ended up with 2 broken ribs. That was his fault for trying to mount her. That's a sexual thing with her. Can't be doing that. Well, when the Lamia lashed out with her tail because a couple of your members broke into her home, they got lucky. She also used a very small amount of the power in her tail. She could have broken those men in half if she wanted to with one swipe from it. But she chose not to. Your men got lucky. Actually, extremely lucky that they failed to break into the Swamp Girl or the Swamp Mermaid's lair. And oh, I could just imagine what that cute little Neko would have done to them. Yeah. Just be careful around her. I'm gonna make sure that she has her lunch before you talk to her. Yeah. Apparently she likes the taste of human flesh and has had it before. The Swamp Mermaid and the Neko Girl, those are killers. Be careful around those 2. Like I said, they managed to survive without promising adult favors in return to a group of perverted men. Thankfully, all of them somehow escaped their captors, and they just started trickling into my zoo. And you'll see all of that when we go there. Oh, by the way, as a sign of good faith, there's your multi-tool pack. Yep, I'm not kidding. You can have it back. I know that's what you use to cut the wires on the electric fence outside of the zoo. I've had that fixed. Listen, I don't expect you and I to be friends, but I want you to understand my mystical creature zoo is not a prison. They're not being mistreated. The money that they're getting will eventually pay for a new safe haven where they don't have to deal with being stared at or thought of as sexual creatures. Trust me, it's for the best, but you'll figure that out on your own when you visit my fake zoo tomorrow. That's all you have to agree to. You visit the zoo, I will drop all the charges against you and the others. And once you're done with your visit, if you still want to protest, okay. But I just want to clear this up between us. They are not being mistreated.